the role, but I haven't accepted the move. We're actually pulling the trigger on the move August 1st. So we got a nice little house in a suburb of Detroit. It's going to be a big change of pace from Chicago, but I'm excited for it. And we'll see what happens. I'm not looking. I'm hoping to be in Michigan for maybe. I'm hoping 3 to 5 years, and then we can move to where we're going to be for the rest of our lives, which is somewhere where it don't snow.
Man, you better than me because I said 10 years ago when I moved to Houston, man, I don't plan on being here that long. And guess what?
Yeah, life has a way of doing that. It was hard for us to leave Dallas. Actually, Dallas, we love Dallas, man. Beautiful city. The weather was great, but obviously, right now I'm following the opportunities that are presented to me. So that's where we're at.
Well, so it's funny because, I know Houston and Dallas, they are like, you say anybody Dallas remind you of Houston and anybody Houston remind you of Dallas, they get mad. Like, it's like you, and it's crazy because I was asking people maybe like, what's the difference? Some people feel like maybe people in Dallas feel like they're better than Houston people just because
They
like
are a
they
little
have certain.
bougie. I'm not gonna lie. Dallas is a little
I
bougie.
heard that.
Yeah, it's a little bougie. It's still good though because unlike every other city I've ever lived in, it's so much space. So you could really have your own out there. Now Houston is different, I think. I don't know. But Dallas, there's so much space that, you can really involve yourself with who you want to involve yourself with.
Yeah. What it do, Britt? How you
Hey,
feeling?
I'm good.
Uh,
A little
how,
tired, but I'm good.
how's the earth treating you?
I'm still here. Just kidding. I'm good. I'm good. I just been finalizing my book, and that was supposed to have been out like 3 months ago. When I realized it was one thing that was like a glitch was like added in page breaks. I've been stalling over goddamn page breaks. I'm so irritated.
What's the genre of your book, Brad?
Oh, it's a book of poetry. Everybody's been asking for it for years. I didn't think that you needed to give them. I wasn't gonna give nobody no book, no album, no nothing. I figured like you either gonna be here to hear it, or you're gonna hear it from somebody else. I didn't think that you needed all that stuff, so I kind of was rebellious for years, and so now people kept bugging me, and I'm like, oh, well, if enough people asking for it, that could be lucrative. So there's that.
Let me know because I would love to support you and I could
Oh,
use the
thank
support.
you.
Please let me know.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm giving the hopefully if the copyright stuff goes through, um, we can at least do pre-orders or put the sales out at the end of July, early August. But I'm not trying to prolong this anymore. So yeah,
Go for it, all in.
thank you.
Well, that is
Oh.
a bet right there. I'm rocking with it,
Oh,
man. So I know since last time we chopped it up, I think one of the things was kind of the fear, depending who you are, is when you feel like that energy might that you have that passion might slowly fade, and you kind of feel guilty, like, man, I need to maintain it, right? But in the same breath, we all learn that, nah, man, you're gonna need a break, right? Um, I always joke around that sometimes people that always are who are very woke is nothing wrong with taking an occasional nap. You sometimes
I like
because
that.
because I think as you see, sometimes we can be so woke and almost paranoid, like everything we just every little thing we just right, and sometimes um things can get the perspective can be lost, right? If you look at the last few weeks alone, the thing about it is we all have our opinions and outlook on things, but when you look at everything from recently, Deshaun Jackson last week, you look at everything that happened with J. Cole and No Name, you look at everything with Jada and Will, you look at all these different things, and even from Black Lives Matter, and then the growth for in you don't want exclusion. You want everyone's black to be involved, a part of it. Um, it's not just feeling like this is about George Floyd. It's about um, black men and black women and black trans uh, men and women. You know, and so it's tough because one thing I've learned, and everything I think about, I apply it to the time I organized. And I think in order for people to get a real perspective of how this thing go, you have to have been in some type of leadership role, or you've had to been in the position where you were in, you know, some type of organizing. A lot of what I see and apply to is me fighting for the food and beverage Unite 23 here in Houston, in Texas, fighting for a union in these jobs, things that people don't believe in. It is a totally different beast. It will wipe you out mentally and emotionally. And you know, I'm not a person that wants to insult the intelligence of everyone to think that we don't know how to focus on a bunch of things at one time. So, you know, you can be the hardest fighter out there and trying to get Breonna Taylor's murders arrested. You can sit here and be in Minnesota with George Floyd. You can be here with Elijah McClain. You can be all these places, and sometimes you're gonna take a step back and be like, man, this Will and Jada shit crazy. I'm not gonna be mad and look at you sideways if you occasionally look at those things, right? I think when people get mad and make it seem like it's two things. Yes, number one, you learn that a lot of people they're just not made or built for this, and they're not going to be built for this. And number two, I think sometimes there's nothing wrong for just having your eyes and focus on different things, right? For people who's always about making money and having these and doing their thing, and I got a business, I'm a money dude, I'm out here making money. And they're focused on trying to make money. Yeah, occasionally they might spend their money on some ice cream. And people's like, why you spending your money on ice cream? You ain't spending money on your health to be better. Like, yo, I just wanted to taste ice cream for a second, right? And because of that, I think that's when I think that's where pettiness kind of get involved for me. Like I said, until you actually done it, until you've actually kind of been in some type of leadership role and know that everything is about the macro. You know, and on occasion you might have to take a pit stops. Like I said, being woke, sometimes you're gonna have to take a nap. You know what I mean? You can't be woke all the time because you will burn out a certain way. And as long as the real people around you understand and comprehend that, you really don't feel like you have to constantly prove yourself. Because just like they always say, the real ones know what's up. And so I can just imagine the frustration when you see certain people say certain things like, that shouldn't be tied into anything else.
It's funny, right? When you bring up certain topics like Will and Jada, and I go through this mentally. It's funny because we've always done this. So we've always figured out a way to disconnect from the real world. And men are the funniest to me of all because we'll talk about sports, and that's our disconnect. Where really, if we want to think about the relevancy of sports, it's so minuscule. But if another man or a woman and women talk about sports as well, I'm not suggesting that women don't talk about sports, but when the moment that somebody talks about a Will or a Jada, we want to say, well, why y'all worried about Will and Jada? Where the relevancy of Will and Jada is exactly the equivalent of the relevance of somebody throwing a football. It seems like it's so easy for us to put down somebody for the way that they disconnect. That it makes us feel a certain way, makes us feel better. When honestly, you know, and for me personally, the stock that I have in Will and Jada is nothing more than one, disappointment that my childhood hero is getting made a meme out of, and then two, he's got $250 billion. So if he's the butt of the joke for the next 6 months so people can laugh instead of cry, then so be it. He can take his $250 million and wipe his tears. And I don't think he needs any defense when it comes to that, right? So it's just interesting that we live in this world where I think time has always showed us this one thing. We live in this world where people will always figure out a way to put other people down. Like, it doesn't matter what it is.
They help
We will
themselves.
always figure out a way to put other people down. And it's unfortunate that we can't even let people disconnect for a moment to have a laugh at the expense of somebody who may have opened the door for that laugh. And we just have to call everybody out on everything that we shouldn't be calling them out on.
Well,
And by the way, Jada or Will, I know this is the point, but I just want it to be said. They've been since 2005. The people have been saying they've been in an open relationship. To me, it's just entertainment. Like, they're still married to the same house. While we all talking about their relationship, they finna go to the Bahamas or wherever. So we worried about them, and they just gave us something to talk about. And it's just interesting to me how certain things work.
what I find interesting is I think that, to me, Will and Jada.
I hate that we're talking, but hey, it's fun.
Yeah. So I actually watched this. I watched the video like 4 times. I have to say, fuck it. Yeah. Well, yeah, I watched it. So, but I'm always interested in the process of stuff. Like, I'm not going to think that, oh, this person was predating on this person and she shouldn't. Like, that's not my style. I look at it as,
But she is a little bogus for the way. I mean, the boy had mental health issues.
Yeah,
and it happens.
Yeah, and I was trying to put this in perspective when it comes to, you know, when I was watching it, I wasn't. Only people, if you've ever been in a relationship with someone that you don't trust their decision making because sometimes they do some goofy stuff, and then later on they're looking at you like, yeah, I did that. You look at them like, yeah, you did that. You learn that sometimes you might date someone that's hard headed, right? And so, it to me, what I think where people should start off is, I think Will and Jada already had these things going and figured it out, right? And I feel like maybe the bigger issue was you have to approach it and talk about it publicly instead of something you already discussed privately, in a sense, right? But I also do think that people, and maybe it's a lot of our peers, we don't necessarily know what unconditional marriage looks like. If you look at the way Will and Jada their relationship, it seems to be like how maybe we view our grandparents. If we've had grandparents that were married for a very long time, if you found out what your grandma and grandpa was going through in year 25, you'll probably be like, oh my God, I can't believe that, right? And like, I can kind of open and maybe say my family, like, you try to figure out, like, oh, why is granny and grandpa in 2 separate rooms in the house, right? Different bed, so Will and Jada seems more like the old school, you there no matter what. And then in this situation, we're exposed to what happened in year 20 of their marriage, right? Compared to maybe with some of our parents who, depending on your upbringing, they split and divorced, right? And so I think what tends to get lost is there are a lot of relationships that have things like that. Now, what's interesting is if anyone has watched other Red Table Talks with Jada and the things she's talked about when it comes to herself and her growth, this is not necessarily surprising on the behalf of when she talks about her journey, her mindset, being married, because she's always had issues with that. She's always talked and discussed those things. The thing about it is Will is he's a highly motivated person that doesn't like failure. So when they was talking about I will love you through anything, it was hard for Jada to believe in that, because Jada's the same person that she didn't really believe in marriage. You know what I'm saying? She had a relationship with Tupac where, wow, someone can love me for me without it even being something sexual. It was something spiritual, something from a soul, her soul. So I can bet that there are challenges that they've learned about each other as they have kids together, and then she's lost probably the love of her life, and Will had a divorce from his first wife, right? And so then you take all these things in one, plus the spotlight and things like that. I feel like that tends to get lost into all of it, and that's why I can't shit on people because of that. But I will also say, what I think besides August Alsina being this vulnerable person, I think because I have no excuses for Jada because I feel like it's a win for men to be like, yeah, we ain't that bad, but whatever, because it doesn't really matter. But I will say that we are also seeing a woman that's in her 40s that we're still trying to figure things out, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what tend to get lost. Like we think that we're supposed to have to figure out. Look, fam, I'm telling you right now. I understand. I can sit here and say, man, I'm glad that it wasn't Will. But sometimes you know how like, okay, Billy, you're married. You know buttons that you would never push your wife. You probably have a lot more patience than she does. So she can get away with a lot. But you know not to even think about doing something wrong because guess what happens? It will hit her even harder because if you did it because maybe you can take the hits, but it's different how it would affect her. And this could be Will and Jada. We'll always know Jada's going to be a certain way about it.
What'd you say, Brit?
Huh?
Were you about to say something?
Oh yeah, I was to a point when you had mentioned about Jada being foul, which there's layers. I think that from a mental health standpoint, we as healers, and I can speak for myself, we are attracted to trauma. And people find themselves, so a lot of people are in relationships right now because they're trauma bond. It's a trauma bond. Like I have bared my secrets and my journey to you. We have found commonalities in our struggles, that has brought us to this moment. And there's nothing by chance. Everything is by design. So why are you in my life right now? And all this kind of other stuff. So the stars have aligned, the ancestors have granted our wishes. And a lot of people are only bound like together because the thing that they have in common is their trauma. Now, once people start to heal for real, they'll realize that there was no need for that tie. It becomes a soul tie. You know what I'm saying? I'm holding on to you because I finally found someone in this great big world that shares a hint of pain that I always thought that was my own. There's always that time or moment in our lives when we feel like we're the only ones, even in the midst of a pandemic that is global. We still is very individual. Like, what did I do wrong? How did I lose all of this? Why am I trying to build myself back together? As if the person in the next apartment or house or business across the street isn't going through the exact same thing, if even greater loss. We know that we feel like we're the only ones in this world. And so we attach ourselves, like, when we join little groups, looking for love or trying to find a discount on something. You know what I'm saying? Like there's something that, I mean, Billy, we knew each other in college, but then we got close when it came down to impact. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And then not only just impact, but when we became the core group of impact. So we started spending a lot more time together. You know what I'm saying? We're studying. We all came with a plan that one semester was like, look, we all gonna get good grade. We're gonna show them what it looks like. And we was killing it, right? We're gonna be the examples and everything. And we got on each other's nerves. It was like 5 or 6 of us, but we held each other accountable. So we had that commonality. Like it was up to us to continue to build off of that platform. So we know now each other's families, you know what I'm saying? We done been invited to things. So we done got, it's like you'll step through the table, but we have to be careful. And I'm speaking for myself as a healer, like as someone who draws people to her and don't even realize it, it's not like, oh, come to me, I can fix you. It's not even on that. It's kind of like, oh my God, you're being very authentic with me because you feel safe with me. You're being very transparent with me, and you're not being like that with anyone else. I know you're not being like that with, you don't trust people enough, but you trust me. So that's sacred. You know what I'm saying? Like there's things that you're sharing that you don't just share with anyone. So why are you choosing me? Is there more to this than you just needing to unpack your thoughts? Our minds start going like, and so we have to, so it's one of those things that I need to know that if I'm really going to pursue something, if that's even on the table, I need to know that it has absolutely no attachment to this. Yeah. Because once you finally heal from this, there won't be a need for me anymore. A lot of women have been groomed over the years to just be the woman that a man needs and not necessarily the woman that a man wants. Mm-hmm. And so, and then made to believe, because even in my singleness, they make you believe like I'm 33. I would be borderline a spinster. She should have cats, you know, saying like, some of us want to travel. Some of us, you know, saying like, I'm sure the family thing could be down the road. I've supported my friends who have children or have lives or whatever. I don't get upset because you spending time with your husband. It's your husband. What are you talking about? But they make us look like there's something wrong with us. What is your glitch? What's wrong with you? How come you ain't with somebody? How come, you know, and it's the things that we say because of how they were groomed. You should have been 10 years into marriage by now. You should have at least 3 or 4 kids. I've had men come up to me that knew me in the past, like, man, Britt, I thought you've been married by now. Oh, thanks. You know, but then I also see people who are in marriages that they're not happy.
Not even close.
Because they don't even know that they didn't even get a chance, the opportunity to know themselves, where they could have made a conscious decision and said, you know what, this can wait. And if it doesn't happen for me, then you know what, how can I get mad at something I never had?
Yeah.
And if I didn't, because I don't know if I necessarily want it when I get it. Right. And so, yeah.
You just killed that. You just killed like that.
You know what? Thank you for attending today. Thank you for, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I'll also say this though, and for Will and Jada specifically, and if anybody who knows me knows, Will Smith has probably been one of, like, if out of any celebrity, there's Will Smith and then there's everybody else for me. Like, I know every episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air word by word. A lot of my personality is modeled off of the image that Will has portrayed. Like, I love Will Smith.
And you swole like him, so it's okay.
I'm jealous. You know, the thing about Will and Jada for me, which just cracks me up, is they've consistently shown that they don't live by the rules of the world, right? Like, the rules that we want them to live by, they don't live by those rules. The way that they raised Jaden and Willow, they raised them the way that they wanted to raise them. I remember Jaden saying that he thought the idea of school was a fallacy and that school should be done through the experience of life. So Jaden never went to school, right? And like, they're fundamentally rooted in different philosophies and ideas than us. So when we think of marriage, which I don't know if I've ever heard Will said marriage a couple times, but he usually refers to him and Jada as life partners. Like, exactly. This idea of marriage to them isn't necessarily, and a lot of people could think that this is correct because human beings are the only really, besides penguins, are the only animals that are truly monogamous. Their idea is we are committed to this life together, but the experiences that we're going to have can be very individualistic and they're going to be tailored for us. And it's hard for us to understand that, right? It's hard for the general population to understand that they have this agreement or this partnership because we want marriage to look like man, wife, man sleeps with woman, man cheats. Like, that's what we want it to be. And that's not necessarily what it's been for them. And
it's not how it should be though. Isn't that crazy? Like, I mean, both sides of my family have had history of infidelity down to my dad. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what is that? So I finally get into a relationship and get a husband, and that's like my rite of passage. Is that, oh well, you know, I'm so happy for you, but girl, you know he gonna cheat. Like, I'm sorry, what? So in my mind, it's like y'all don't make marriage appealing to me at all.
Yeah.
And so there's that too. If and when I decide to get married, right? Well, if and when I decide to, I'm gonna be the difference. I'm not gonna do what y'all did. I'm not gonna be on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not looking for a husband. I'm looking for a life partner. Yeah. Because my experience is that even trying to talk to a man, you know, they want to get at you when oh man, things in my life is good right now. Let's link up. But then things going bad in my world, they go ghost. And it's like, you know, I can't deal with that. I can't deal with 35% of your life. If you want me in, then I gotta be in. The good, the bad, the ugly. Like, I can't do that. That's ridiculous. Like, it's like a subscription, a year subscription, but I only got 7 months. And it's all sporadic. Like, you don't, like, it's like I had 2 good months and then 1 month was like, do I still get the perks? And it's like, oh, I was just going through a lot. What? And you decided after 3 months or after 2, like, you know, whether what you doing or how you doing or, hey, stranger, I'm only a stranger because you went Casper on me. I don't get that. You know, like, so I want a life partner, someone I can do life with. I'm not necessarily interested in a husband.
Life. So I have a question for you, Britt. Okay. So I seen his posts, and it was, I see it a few times, and it's like, hey, black men, stop holding back and holding whatever is going on. And if somebody asks you, how are you, just say, I'm okay. Communicate, talk to us. And even though I understand the premise of that, I'm not really the biggest fan, only because it is. And maybe because for you are a specific individual who has this ability for people to open up their heart, minds, and soul to you. But I think it sounds good on paper to say, black man, you need to open up and tell us what's on your mind. But I feel like what gets lost, and if people talk to enough people, the hardest thing to do is having people just say do it in general, where in many cases the times they have done it has been used against them, or it's been weaponized on them of opening up. Like, it's easier said than done. Like there's even at that that's the equivalent. It's not on a certain level because it's so much deeper women have to deal with, but it's the equivalent of like a man telling a woman, you need to smile more, right? You just it's like you just saying it sounds good, but do you really give a fuck? And the reason why I say that, because it has to be, if somebody's like, black man, you need to open up and talk more and let us know. I don't think people realize, yes, you have the majority of the time, these young men grew up in surroundings where they didn't have the opportunity to be exactly who they are. If they're a lot more in tune with their emotional side, if they're a lot more in tune about, they like talking about how they feel and what they think. They're in tune with all these different things, but their surroundings is based off of just simply, you need to be a man. No definition behind what being a man is, just you need to be a man. So you guessing like, well, I guess I got to be macho and just hold it all in and, and let it build up type thing, right? So when you have people are saying that, and people have done that, they usually have been teased, shitted on, and the only people they probably will open up with is their own homeboys. And I can say, maybe for me, I've been fortunate for every single one of my friends. I have my homeboy Trey here. He's a white guy, but I have, Blue. I have Justin, and now I have y'all, Billy, and it's like all these people I'm close with. I know what's on their mind and what they're going through. They're willing to open up and rant to me. Why? They have a trust knowing that I can tell Ramone whatever, that my deepest, darkest thoughts, and it would not be weaponized against me. And in the process, the only way people use that is this. Like, now go back to organizing real quick. When people tell me the life story, for example, this girl, she's a server. She worked for a company for 10 years. She has 2 kids who both diabetic. And I was like, hey, if we able to do this, servers should get paid more off of their base pay, and you be able to have affordable insurance, blah, 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 all these different things. And so when I lead those examples, and she started being hesitant and fear and scared, and she don't do those things, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, well, this is her story. I figured that she will love to do these things because this will help her. But I'm not going to use it against her. Like, well, what you going to do about your 2 diabetic kids because your insurance is expensive? You know what I'm saying? And so imagine that from your life experiences. Now, it's different when somebody's a detriment. Just because you grew up in a household that was abusive, full of alcohol and drugs and things like, doesn't mean you be a detriment to the next person that wants to help you. I'm not excusing that shit. I'm saying people in general that just like, they might, for example, how I haven't seen the last season, we look at Insecure, an old boy from Houston. You know what I'm saying? Well, he kind of disappeared on Issa, if you've ever seen Insecure. And it's kind of like, oh, it goes deeper. Like, I don't want to be this way, but I feel I'm so used to just thinking that if I feel like nothing else is around me comfortable, I might have to disappear. And I know that hurts the person because they want to care, but I guess people have to understand there hasn't really been too many options for allow them to feel comfortable to be open in the first place, right? So that's why I feel about like everybody's posting it. It sounds good on paper for everything. It sounds good to tell for any black man to tell black women, I'm going to protect you, and then you might read and say, oh, thank you. But you kind of think to yourself, I understand, but you just saying it because it sounds good on paper. Because all the times that I put my trust in somebody to protect me, they shitted on me the worst. You know what I'm saying? That to me, that's why I like. it's just one of those things. Y'all can go after that, but I just really, and from your perspective, what's your view on things like that? And I know, look, I know you unfortunately, you have to be the healer of all. Like Brittany, my coach, you have to be the doctor. I bet you, like Dr. Quinn, medicine woman. I bet you somebody get the big toe cut off right now. Somebody reason they going to your house instead of the hospital. Like, could you put my big toe back on? You're like, yo, what the fuck? I got my own feet to worry about. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
So how's that? So how's that process been for you and your view on it?
I think that a lot of people, people post things for propaganda. They do it for the likes, the reactions, or whatever. And I think that and maybe this is how women are really feeling, but some women also are not ready to, when they finally. So I always pose the question a few times throughout the year: did you get what you wanted when you got what you asked for? So when you say you want a man to go up here and be open and honest with you, and then when he finally be open and honest with you, you turn it again. I've seen it, like, soon as we get into an argument, you ain't nothing but a pussy ass nigga, you did this or whatever, like this. It's just like, whoa, gee, sis, why are you even holding that in your arsenal? Why are you even using that in your arsenal when this is what you wanted from this man, to be open? Now, when he opens those wounds, how deep are you trying to go? Like, we got to be careful what we asking for, and then a lot of men who've responded, because I ain't shared a post, I've seen it, I didn't react to them, I've kept it scrolling. Some things just ain't worth my reaction. But a lot of men have responded like, yeah, because they're basing off their own experiences. When I've tried to be open, when I thought it was safe enough to do that, this happened to me. So no, I'm not gonna keep doing it and get shit on. And I can't blame them. I cannot blame them. Now, why people choose to open up to me, I have no idea, actually. I have absolutely no idea sometimes. I don't know. I seriously be minding the business that pays me. I mind my Black-owned business. I do not be prying. I swear, it must be an imaginary sign on my forehead that says, talk to her, she'll listen, and she'll keep it. So I'm also a firm believer that is what is shared here stays here, what is learned here leaves here. Like, the learning experience is what you take with you. But what do I gain by telling your business? It don't increase my credit score. It don't pay my bills any faster. It don't pay my rent. You know what I'm saying? It don't do nothing for me to go up there and once you share something with that. But that's me. And I can only speak for myself. I think that, man, the more things like that goes up, reminds me of just how complex we are as humans, and it's unfortunate, again, in our grooming, that there's so much being harbored that when you that you need to release as an adult, that you can't, because of all this unlearning that you have to do. We have to unlearn a lot of bullshit as adults, like things that they put on us, our own families, our own elders, when we couldn't talk back to them. See, I'm a grown ass woman, and I'm gonna hold you, elder, accountable, because I ain't no child no more. So you can't tell me to put a child, I don't care if there's a 60-year difference. If I'm 99, then you can, until I hit the grave, you can hold me accountable. Because that don't mean that I sit up here because I qualify for AARP, that I could just say whatever I want to and hurt people. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, we ain't on that. You got to be able to own your stuff. And so I think that I wish there was more safe spaces for men to be able to just, and it may come out as anger at first. What's wrong with that? Anger is an emotion. But I think once you start breaking down those walls, and you've had to put a big wall up of anger. That's all you've ever known: aggression, anger, or silence, or whatever. So you got to forge through those walls. And some people just give up too easily. See, you don't open up to me, and this is why I can't. You ain't even give him a chance, sis. You want him to go up here and forge through 20-some, 30+ years of this, and just lay it all down for you. That, who's to say you're not gonna walk away once he finally tears down that last brick? You got to be careful about yourself too. So, to say I agree with that post, I don't, because a lot of women who are agreeing to it are not ready for that at all. And let's be honest, they didn't connect with the man on some let me get into your inner thoughts. It was on something else. It could just be attraction. It could be trauma attraction. It could be a lot of things, but it wasn't on some, I want you to go up here and be vulnerable and tell me how and communicate with me, because that's but it's different for different people though.
So do you have what are your expectations out of black men? Like, you obviously you shouldn't feel like you need to have any expectations out of anybody. You feel like, look, if you cross me, act right, don't treat me a certain way. But it now, the discussion over the last few weeks have gone deeper and deeper when it comes to, like I said, we've all come together, and it's been all Black Lives Matter. We all come together, okay, and then you have other groups within the groups are dealing with a lot of the issues and struggles, and then it turns into, understandably, want to be held accountable, but mixed in with some pettiness of, okay, now your people are battling back and forth with each other, and it's kind of like, damn, like, it is not even the fact that it's more of a we're disagreeing and I need to let you know what I want to feel. It's like it becomes just the pettiest shit I've ever seen, especially on Twitter. It's just a whole totally different beast. And I'm like, yeah, I did. Like, because I'm a person where it says, okay, it's like friendships. If you have a friend that do certain things and they do some wild shit, because that's your friend, you are willing to kind of sit them down, talk to them, like, look, you fucked up, but this and this and this. You're talking to them, you hold them accountable, you straightforward. But there's a difference between somebody you call your friend, and then when they do something maybe bigger or small, like, yeah, fuck that motherfucker, man, I'll shoot him right now, I don't give a fuck. That never was your friend in the first place, right? So a lot of people, when it comes to the inner racial relationships of race and other relationships, it turns into, it gets petty real fast. Like, I mean, we've learned, besides I don't really think it's really a war or a battle between black men and women. I just think it's just men and women being men and women that are black, right?
It
Just
could
like
be.
any other. And I also kind of think that, like, even you see kind of the difference of after with Miss Vanessa situation here in Texas, in Fort Hood, a lot of, same thing happened years ago with Trayvon Martin. You see a lot of Hispanic people going at black people. And I was kind of thinking to myself, like, well, the way I kind of viewed it was like, to me, if you are that strong on someone else, that means that you don't know enough people, or you're not that confident thinking that there are a lot of great, amazing people. Like, I don't have a reason to have an ill will or shitty attitude towards the in general notion of a woman, and especially towards a black woman. Even if one or two, oh man, there's one, this other situation, but in general, people are just like, rah! And I'm just like, yeah, damn, But like I said, everyone struggles different. So it's I really don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say anymore, because.
So I want to respond to what you have, but I want to respond briefly because I really want to hear what everybody else has to say, because I'm really interested in other people's insight, and I really can't stand hearing myself talk for too long, truthfully. Well, I
Hey,
will
don't
say,
worry, your voice not trash, so you get it.
I know, but I don't like to take up space, and I value the voices of others in the space, and so I have about 10. I can count on 10 fingers of black men in my life that I actually trust with my life. And that's more than a lot of women can say, a lot of black women can say. And so I don't feel protected by black men. I don't. So I'll pull from a quick memory, a quick experience. I used to perform a lot at Poetry Unplugged here. That used to happen on Tuesday nights. And honestly, when I first got into the poetry scene in Milwaukee, was the first time I ever heard the word queen so much. It was the weirdest thing. You walk into the door, peace queen, hey queen, 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 queen. I'm just kind of like, oh my God, what? It's just like, I ain't never.
Say that
What's
again.
that? They just right, and they just be like coming up to you, grabbing your, like caressing your hand, like peace queen. I can't, what I'm saying, you looking all lovely. It was just kind of like, okay. It was a different world for me. But the same people, the same men who are calling me queen, and let's say we get right to the door, like they about to walk me to my girl's car or something, they will find themselves, they would see a woman who they appear to be more attractive, and basically leave me in the dust. It was just like, all right, sister, you have a good night, and I'm about to move my way over here. And it's like, what just happened? And so that happened, you know, and then especially when I would like spit, oh my God. It's like, oh my God, that poem you just did it. I'm like, that's cool, thank you. Because a lot of, what y'all didn't know is a lot of niggas was getting on that stage because they knew that these poems was gonna get them some pussy. If I could just be bluntly, like, they know exactly, they know exactly what to say.
Yeah.
To have a girl saying, "Oh my God, that was so deep. I didn't hear I heard the whole thing, but that one line you said is just
that was deep. What you said, so get deep in me. I feel
it touched me. I mean, think about it. It's a Tuesday night. You don't pay your little fee to get in. The bars, it's not open. I mean, but people up here, people are getting plastered on a Tuesday night. You know what I'm saying? They're coming for this entertainment. There's food available, and you got these bomb ass poets that's about to bless the stage. You know what's about to happen to you on a Tuesday night. That's why that place stayed packed. And it wasn't easy. If you didn't have the guts for it, you better get your ass off that stage. Because the same people who would never touch it will eat you alive. You know what I'm saying? Like with they blank facial expressions or all that kind of other stuff. But then you start to peep how people start acting. I know if I said a certain poem, I did a couple pieces when I went live with my girl last month. And one of my old coworkers out of nowhere, he was like, I just want to let you know that your poems had me feeling some type of way. Okay, well, they were made to make you feel. I'm not the one to police how you feel, but you felt something. I don't know, in your head, in your heart, in your pants. I have no idea. But the fact is, you felt something. And that is a win in my book. Have a great day. I don't know why you're telling me this, but thank you. I'm gonna take that compliment and roll with it. I don't get fancied by those silly by compliments like that because I know what I got. You know what I'm saying? Like I know I spit with intention. You know what I'm saying? Like if I want to go up here and when they be like, oh, you do poetry, spit something. I mean, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like I know what I'm doing.
Battle rapper? Okay.
You know? I mean, people.
I said,
no,
yo.
I'm no battle rapper, but sometimes I got bars. Sometimes I got bars on a good day. But going back to my original thought, I don't feel as protected. I wish Black men would just protect me for the sake of Black woman. I want to protect you. That it didn't come down to, you know what I'm saying, my color, because, they want you to say Black is beautiful and embrace your, your deepness. But at one point, you know what I'm saying, like, they're making you feel bad for having darker skin too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, oh, I ain't really going for you, but I need you to love yourself. Love yourself, Black women. But I don't, you know what I'm saying? You got to fix this, that, and the third. I will get somebody else over you, but I want you to love yourself. Nevertheless, it's like it's really hard trying to navigate that love when you're getting mixed signals from the people who's supposed to lift you up. And so I don't if I don't feel physically safe, I know I don't feel emotionally safe by Black men. And that scares me sometimes.
It's interesting that what you just shared. There's a old quote that I'll never forget, and I can't remember where it's from, but there's an old quote, and it goes, "Everything in this world is about sex, except sex. Sex is about power." So everything in this world is about sex, except sex. Sex is about power. And I just remember that quote as you were speaking, because me as a less mature man than I am today, I operated with the notion, and every man who was around me operated with the notion of now you can't tell me nothing. Everything we've done was not necessarily for sex, but it was to attract females. So we had created a whole culture around where the girls at, how do we engage with females. And I think that's a maturity thing. It's something that you, unfortunately, in immaturity isn't given until the right experiences are given. You'd be a 40-year-old man and still operating under those lenses. And God forbid, if I ever become a single man, I don't know if I'd go back to that same immaturity, because you let the battle of the flesh win so much. But it's interesting because we talk about mental health on this call, and you said two experiences now where I'm just like, man, like mental health, the attack that we're constantly being given from every direction. When you even speak about finding comfort in a male, even if it was just a friend, or just finding somebody to protect you, or finding somebody you could just genuinely trust, that's literally mind screwing you every opportunity that you engage with a man. Can I trust you? Got to go through a whole checklist of things in your mind, and then he's got to reaffirm and prove positive intent, and you're constantly always battling through this, and that's a lot of mental a weight that's being put on you, and men as well. Like, we have our own mental weights in different ways, but it's just interesting the stuff that we go through as black individuals, and then on top of being black, being a female in that space. I just pray for you, I pray for us as a people, because we're going through a lot.
And you find a reason to keep like moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, these things happen to us and we're just trying to forge our way. You got to love yourself that much harder to realize what you're going to accept and what you're not going to accept, you know. And we also have to be careful because we're manifestors of what we say too. Yeah. So I'll always joke around like, yeah, always they like, well, Brit, what about it? And I was like, hey, I'm the shit. But I also get friend zoned a lot. All I keep doing is friend zoned. And then all of a sudden I speak that thing. So then I keep perpetuating me getting friend zoned. So I have to shift my words saying, yeah, I was friend zoned, but I attract the love that I want, the energy that I want. That's why I live a pretty good life. Because I give what I treat people the way I want to be treated. Like, yeah, that's why people like me, you know. So I have no reason to, you know, it is what, but I have to shift my thinking. If I know how powerful my words are, I know a manifest. And I was like, wait a minute, if I keep fueling this, that means I'm also the one who can stop this. That means I'm going to be even closer to what I really desire and want, because I am putting that out there into the universe, to the heavens, to the, you know, to the angels and the ancestors. Because, and I'm not getting hemmed up on every day that it doesn't happen. I'm grateful that every day I get close, I'm getting closer to what it is that I want, because I'm not doing this backtracking. That I don't even know how people date in this. I don't even like, the thought of dating brings me the most anxiety. Just liking someone is just kind of like, no, girl, don't. Why do you have? You're too grown for a crush. What is that? Change. You know, saying go find a hobby or something, because it's too much. It's too much. Like, I should have did that stuff back in like middle school, high school, or whatever, early college days. As a grown woman, I don't have the time. And so, you know, so I have to be very careful. I have to love myself more than the situation. I have to love myself more than the good time. I'm leaving legacies. I can't just be living for moments. I got things to do. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you have to know what you're getting yourself into when you are in a relationship with me. Like, because all the people who connected to me or know Brit Nicole, like, I'm just Brit. You know me as, you know, Brit Nicole is literally just half of my first name, all of my middle. So it made sense for a stage name. But I'm the same person. But a lot of people know me for what I do and who I am. So if someone's going to come into my life like that, they better know what they're getting themselves into. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole bunch of eyes watching, because there's a lot of people who got my back that's not going to let me settle for just anything. And I'm a Pisces, so my heart be all over the place, just be like, oh my God. They like, come back to ground. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm grateful for that village that brings me back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it looks real cute on the surface and when it's in the beginning stages. But any relationship is spelled WORK. And honestly, 99% of that is my work. I'm working on me so that I can work on this. So if I get lost in that too much, that I forget about this, it's gonna fail at some point sooner rather than later. So it's the intentionality behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not the same person that you met when you first met your wife, right? You know, there's a growth that had to happen. There's a lot of my work. And even as you as a father and a husband and a friend and a brother and, you know, a son, all that stuff, like, you're evolving and you're learning, you know what I'm saying? So we have to be committed to that continuous growth. Even if whoever's in my life decides to walk away, I'm still whole. Ain't nobody walked away with half of me. I'm still right here. You know, people have to, I think we give too much power to another individual when we have to realize we have to harness that for ourselves up in here. We got to love ourselves a lot more.
What's going to happen for you, and I can't speak definitively, but what happens for a lot of people is when you get an opportunity to figure out who you are and to really love yourself, you fortunately jump over or you bypass a lot of the hardships that you would face early on in a relationship. I remember it wasn't until I was a really young man that I even felt attractive, right? And so, like, I went my whole life feeling unattractive. and which made me extremely vulnerable in my relationships, right? Because if you're always in a state of feeling unattractive and you don't really love yourself, when you commit yourself to somebody else, you're committing half of the love that you have for yourself, and you can't fully commit. So the moment somebody comes and shows you, hey, you're attractive, you're yearning for that, right? I'm attracted, and that's how some individuals put their relationships in tough spaces. And it's so important to figure out the ways to love yourself holistically. And I'm proud that you're finding that, and you're inspiring me to continue to find that, because that's something that we're missing, right? So.
Yearning.
Oh, thank you, Billy. Okay, why are you not speaking at all?
Yeah, Blue, what's going on?
You've been nodding in agreement, getting a snack in. What's on your mind?
Y'all been rolling, man. You know, it's hard for me to jump in. You know, like I'm somebody. Like what you said, Brit, when you said you don't like to hear yourself talk, you really appreciate hearing other people's perspectives and stuff. I'm really like that. And I'm sitting here listening to y'all, and I'm like, man, I want to soak all this stuff in. So
Love it.
that's where I was sitting at. So I appreciate everything I've been hearing. And I was trying to think about a way to wrap up what I'm thinking to where it's not like a long thing, because to me, so much was being unpacked right now. So much is being talked about that one of them, I just feel like going on a conversation thing, because a little bit of that, I want to know what everybody thinks around this one thing. So I'm gonna go deep with that one first, then I'm gonna come back to this other one. But I can't do that, because then we'll be here for 9 hours. So
look, that means he got to set up another one, because I'm here for conversation.
And thank you. That's what we all here for. And I like how you say, from my experience, you know, being a healer. And I think that language right there is very important. So I guess I can start there. Just you being able to identify that constantly shows that, well, to me, so this is the language I use. If I was using that language, that would be me and my understanding going, okay, I know that I'm at least here to be a benefit and be of service to humanity. You know, that's a healer. Okay, so just so y'all know where my head's at. Okay, so we're talking about all this race stuff. I have not seen the Will and Jada video, so I don't know exactly what's happening with that, but I was also listening for that too, because I was like, well, I don't know what to say about this one. but so Will and Jada, so that's one thing.
It's like the world jinxed him. Like as soon as he started talking, it's like, yeah, we gonna fuck this up for him.
No.
But
that's so ironic. That is so ironic.
Will and Jada listening. Yeah, y'all listening. No, you know, so I remember somebody I know, we worked at the hotel together named Turkey Leg. That's her. She's a biker. And you know, that's her biker name.
I'm really
Turkey
sad
Leg.
about this.
Yeah. He'll be back. But
I really wanted to hear what he had to say.
Oh yeah, man. He's one of he's one of the most influential ones, that his perspective. But you know, she asked me, because this is after she found out Sarah and I was dating, right? And me and her were real cool. She asked me like, well, what do you think about Black love? And I was like, it's amazing. It's a dope. I think it's such a great thing. It means so much to see it. And I think one of the biggest perspectives that I think that people are misinterpreting what women are saying is, you don't have to be fucking or want to be with that person in order to show love and show appreciation and to protect them, right? Like I don't have to be in a perspective of, yeah, I'm trying to get with Brit, so when I'm with her, I'll be able to protect her and treat her like you don't. People get so caught up in thinking that like I gotta, it's like that's what tend to get lost. So when you have women are asking, we want to feel loved, appreciated, and protected. They're not saying, oh, in order for you to do that, you just have to be with us for that to happen. That's just that's just a natural, that needs to be just as natural as breathing air. Like, I want to see you do well. How are you doing? So it is tricky, as she said, everyone's calling her queen, but it's like, yeah, everybody's saying it, but do they really feel that way, or are they just saying it to be saying it, right? And so that's why, like, terms and words matter. It's, for me growing up, outside of my family, I didn't tell a lot. I didn't like people. Okay, I'll brag. People love the shit out of me, right? You know what I mean? When I was single, I spent a long time being single up to 5 years ago. I was single like a motherfucker. I was single in college, single in high school, just chilling, dabbling. I'm kind of a late bloomer. Like, I was one of the young dudes that all the older women like me, but my peers didn't really like. They just always like, oh, you sexy. I'm like, oh shit, really? But anyway, in the process, it's like you'll learn that, like, not everything is based around you. You got to be fucking with somebody or fucking somebody to just have that love and respect. Like, you just have this natural ability to want to see someone do well and thrive. Like, I feel like when you don't have that, that's why people kind of have, they don't necessarily trust you always using these words. Like, that's why for a long time it was hard. A lot of my friends said, "Oh, Ramone, I love you, and it was hard for me to say I love you back to a lot of people, because I don't throw that word around like that. That's not a word to throw around like that. And so I think that's why it goes back into that post. Easier said than done. People just throw it out there, but it's like, if you are really in tune to who you are in your surroundings and how you are very gentle in the things you say, who you are as a person, the way you roll, even through your imperfections, you'll understand what those things mean. So Brit don't need to walk in a room with 200 dudes calling her queen if only 2 of those dudes really genuinely give a fuck about her well-being. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like, I'm not saying that those dudes don't call her queen and disrespect. I'm saying in general, we know what empty calories look like. You know what I'm saying?
I think, man, this is a tough one for me. All right, so I'm gonna be honest. I'm in an interracial relationship, and I love my wife dearly. And I love Black women. I love my mother. I love my sister. I love Black women, and I've grown up. And I'm not, but I will say this. When you talk about Black love, it's a very sensitive topic. It's a very weird topic and a space for me to be in, because I'm a believer, man, this is tough to say. I'm a believer that you got to put your money where your mouth is, right? And I think that I someday, let's say I become the CEO of Nike, right? And I'm all about love. They'll see another Black man with a non-Black woman as his wife, right? Another successful Black man with a non-Black woman. And when I think about Black love, I think about the empowerment of Black women and Black men as a unit together, as a community together. And I think that there's an element of value, there's fundamental value in celebrating people who look like you and being in relationships with people who look like you. Because if we're not, and our most successful of us are not, then what does that mean? What message does that send? Now, I say that full blown, I'm in love with my wife, right? And the reason I fell in love with Hamali is because she shares so many of the same values that my mother has, right? So like, there's so much of my mother, who's a phenomenal Black woman, in my wife. So, that's my justification. Can't control who you fall in love with, and I never fault anybody for that. But for me, Black love is really, I just hate seeing, I hate constantly, and this is really, it gets frustrating. The only image of a successful Black man that you often see on his right side is somebody who ain't Black. And that is a problem, right? We've got to figure out how to fix that. And I'm not telling anybody who to love, but we've got to figure out how to fix that, because it does mean something. Good, bad, or indifferent. If every beautiful Black woman we saw was with a man who wasn't Black, we'd be like, dang, what's that mean to us?
Well, but the thing about it is, I don't, even with me, when I see Serena Williams, Eve, or whatever, like, I don't chase her. Like, oh my God, I feel a certain way. It's like, yo, she must have found somebody really amazing for her in her life, right?
100%.
And so she's still gonna be, yeah.
Right.
And
yeah.
Even with that, like, I'll let you finish. But one of those things, okay, for example, I also kind of feel like it's what people are willing to chase and what people are willing to focus on, right? Because you might think that, oh, this, I can't think of a top NBA player right now, but there's a lot of LeBron James and there's a lot of Chris Paul and Carmelo Anthony and all these other guys. Like, if you people love using stats, okay, 85% of black men are married to black women, right? So as we're thinking about the ones we might see in the spotlight a certain way, I look at like, yo, it's so many black men and women that are married, so many that have kids together. When people was looking at Russell Wilson and his wife, he's with Sierra now. You know what I'm saying? Like or there's some people like, oh man, I can't believe this NBA stars with this woman. It's like, well, you look at, like I said, for me, for every one person you can name, I feel like I can name 10 of those guys who are married that's in the same spotlight or higher, that are married and to a black woman and have black kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, you know what I mean? It literally becomes an information thing sometimes, where it's like, it all depends what you're willing to look for. Because if I was a young man, if I was out here on the timeline right now and say, man, I can't believe Eve is with dude, man, I can't believe Jenna's with dude, but I'm not focusing on the other ones that have the black husbands that's in the forefront, that's the superstars that's doing well, then people gonna hit me up like, Ramone, so you only gonna focus on them, but you ain't focus on the other 10 that I could name.
I'll say this. First, I'm not, if you fall in love with who you fall in love with,
Yeah.
right? I'm not taking away. I would be a hypocrite because I'm an interracial. So I'm all
Nah,
about.
fam, no, you tripping. You a hypocrite. You know what?
I'm all about that. I just want to say we have to celebrate Black love. Like that has to be a focus for, if we want our people to continue to grow, and if we want our people to continue to have economic success, there is a huge value in Black. And with that being said, there's a huge value in interracial love too, right? There's a huge value in showing that we can come together and that we can create beautiful human beings because we are one and the same. So just as huge of a value as Black love, there is a huge value in interracial love. I'm not taking away from that.
Yeah.
By my respect for what interracial love is and what I have for that, I don't want that to by any means deter from the fact that Black love is needed, it's respected, and we need it to be successful.
Yeah, and I think it should. I think it also will. Besides, like with Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, right? And you look at, okay, they're married and they have kids. I think what's also important too is, if I was living in Milwaukee and I went to a show with her, and we're both on the stage, and we out here like Michael Smith and Jamel Hill, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we both on stage, and give it up for Ramone and Brit and Ramone, things like that. And the fact that when you just see, wow, they have a friendship, this is his best friend, his companionship, his life partner in crime. That's also important too, right? That you know what I mean? And so, and I think that, and that's also what Black love is. Like like I said, it will always go beyond just, I gotta be fucking you, I gotta, be with you in order for that to happen. It's just, I'm existing around you and I'm functioning with you, right? I think, and I feel like that really gets lost because we're focusing on the one or two, or we just think that, and so that's why I understand what you're saying too. Like, well, I'm not saying too, like you make me think saying different. It's like, I fully comprehend everything we're saying, like, especially with your perspective. And I know Brit, in everything, whatever she's gonna say, I know it's gonna be dope. So you know what I'm saying, you might as well just end it right after that. But I'm just saying, like, I think that's kind of get lost sometimes too.
Blue, I hope you remember where you left off. I want to hear Brit's perspective, but I got to hear where Blue left off after Brit's done with her perspective.
Because seriously, that was so ironic with what happened to you. we need you. We don't. That's so the irony that when you finally decide to speak, that happened to you. So please speak, Blue. Please.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I was gonna ask a question. And this is where I might get a little bit of pushback. All right, so I'm gonna pre-warn my Black audience, because this is when I was trying to prepare me talking sometimes, because I'm getting rid of race, y'all. Okay, I said it. Shoot me. So what? I'm getting rid of race. Okay, so I want to ask a question. We talk about black so much. What's the difference between Black love and any other color love? is there a difference between black love and some other love?
No, there's not a difference. Symbolically, right? Symbolically, yes, but emotionally, no.
Symbolically, please go ahead.
Elaborate. Barack and Michelle, right? I think this is important. So Barack and Michelle. Barack's a strong black leader. Michelle's a strong black female leader. The fact that they could come together, love, and show that they can prosper through this BS systemic oppression of America that we have shows that two of us can make it out, right? There's a symbolic importance to that.
Okay.
Just as important it was to have a black president, right? Just as important it was to have a black president, is important to have a black couple, right? That's symbolism is important.
Yeah. And so I like how you brought that up, and I like how simple you left it. It didn't go to this crazy thing of something else, right? In the simple sense, I would have to 100% agree, because I don't know if y'all know like sports, or like I study like a lot of personal development, and this one story kind of goes around a lot. It was back in the day when the human race did not know that we could run a mile in 4 minutes. It's called the 4-minute mile. When you're able to run a 4-minute mile, it just shows that you have like a certain cardio level, right? So back in the day, no human was able to do this. Scientists was like, it's humanly impossible. Don't do this. And then this one dude said, you know what? I don't know about that. I'm about to do what these Olympians do and all this other stuff. I'm gonna visualize me running the mile in 4 minutes. So he sat there, he visualized it, and then he ran it. After he ran it, he failed. He didn't do it. So the scientist was like, told you, gotcha. And then he went back, did some more visualization, did some more training. He did some training with it. And then he beat he went back and did it, and then he did it, right? He did the 1 minute, the mile in 4 minutes. And the world was just like, oh my God. But then the next year, 11 people did it. And then the next year, 40 people did it. And then the next year, more people did it. That symbolism was very important for that moment in time for us in that respect. Now, I want to look at something though here. I want to look at something and say, even during that time, that was a big moment for American history. So what I would like to say, and I'm going to poke a little bit, this is where I'm going to get a little bit of pokey. Now, if we looked at that, could we not say that is a moment for human history rather than American history, for instance? It was a symbolism for American history, and maybe other countries could have picked up something from that, but it was so identified with American history. There's a barrier also when you're Asian now, when you're from a different place. So what I'm trying to say is so this is going to come twofold. I'm going to bring it all around, and I want to hear what you got to say, because I like how you brought that up, like I said. So Dr. Sebi, are we familiar with Dr. Sebi? Okay, so Dr. Sebi, so we all know him, right? So the reason he was able to heal a lot of stuff is because he found the core of the problem. Like if you study him, he says there's only one disease in human. It's mucus. There's not a bunch of diseases like AIDS, HIV, the cold, influenza, all that. Nope. Scratch all that. Mucus. How was he able to cure AIDS and cure cancer? Because he was able to find where the mucus was hiding for that specific quote unquote disease. Once again, he said there's only one disease, mucus. We label all this other shit. But if we just said, hey, human either has mucus or not mucus in the system. Now we get to the core. Now we don't have to call it AIDS, because it was this impossible thing, right? But if we understood, all we're trying to do is find the mucus, what he found out was that the mucus lies underneath the skin. When you have a cold, the mucus lies where? Right here, right? And when we clear that up, we stop having a cold. So the mucus for the AIDS, it lies in the skin. So that's why we weren't able to find it in science, because they wasn't looking there. They was trying to find a gland or a bulge or something. Well, okay, so why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this to say, I believe that humanity has been conditioned a certain way. And I would like to address what I'm about to say right now by saying conditioning changes per the times. Slave conditioning is different than this conditioning now. But I'm going to tell y'all right now, I believe it's still slave conditioning. right? But back in the day, it was we wouldn't be having this conversation freely over this, 150 years ago.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
Right? So that conditioning was different than our conditioning now. We can have this type of conversation, but now we're trying to be secretive, black people and shit on the web. So it's different conditioning, same mindset. So what I'm trying to address, and when I'm going back to what I said, Brit, when you say healer, it sat so much with me because I believe we're all children of God, aka spiritual beings. And you can say universe, whatever. I don't. I use universe more than the word God. I'm not gonna lie. So we're children of the universe. Period. There's no human right now that can go, you know what? I made that planet. It's not happening.
Wouldn't that be dope if we could say that though?
Yo,
that's me.
Crazy.
Right? I can make a better planet. Okay. Well, who did it first?
Hey, they hit you with the, I'll be right back. I got you.
Right.
I've got this quote.
Now I want to, dang Blue. Now I want to make a planet. I'm irritated. I got to go figure out how to make a planet.
hey, if y'all want to, go talk to Terrence Howard. He's trying to do something, all right?
Well, I'll tell you, there's an interesting thing that you said. There's this old saying, right? And I think it's from Mad Men, actually. They say there's two truths in this world. You're born and then you die. And everything else in the middle are just a bunch of made up rules we do to control the way you think. Right? Thank you. Yeah. And that's right where I'm about to go right now. We're children of God. And what we describe this, let's say we're made in that image. God, what most religions and most people that I talk to, how they describe God: all powerful, all merciful, all knowing. This thing right here, I would like to really say this. I don't know how many people really think that our creator is going around saying, I'm a big ass man or I'm a big ass woman. I don't think that's how that thing would think. Like, human is identifying with their body parts. That's why we came up with man and woman. Most animals in the animal kingdom, they don't care about gender. Yep. They just know they got this thing called a body and they just move about. Yep. Like you said, I didn't know penguins was the only ones that was closely related to like marriage thing. That was pretty dope. Because most animals, they just have heating seasons. A season comes up and then they either make their feathers go out, they sing a song, or they fight like gorillas. Like, mating season happened. I got to make sure this thing keeps going. So that's what happens. With humans, though, we're known as a conscious human. We're human beings. We're not human animals. And this is where the distinction comes from, where I'm about to make right now. Because we're conscious human beings, we don't. When things happen, we either have two options. We can be reactive, or we can be responsive. Because we know how to be human beings. The reactive part is from our amygdala. That's like every other animal. Every other animals eat, sleep, shit. Because we eat, sleep, and shit, we acting like, oh, well, we just so tight because we know how to put words when we eat, cheat, and slip. Do all that. The reason all this is important is because, I was watching this thing today of Russell Brand. He's an actor, Russell Brand and Eckhart Tolle. They were talking about identity. And the core thing today for me, I would say the core problem with just humanity right now is that we have these things called concepts and identities and things like that. Because once we say that I'm Black, the ego mind is protecting that identity at all costs, 100%. Conscious or unconsciously. Yes. So what is making all this stuff happen, like keep going? And what, for me, the mental health issue stops once we stop identifying everything and trying to say, well, this type of person deserves this and this type of person deserves that because of history. History is too murky. If we keep playing with history, we're gonna just, I'm sorry, the higher ups, the ones who we call the 1%ers, they want us to keep shit murky. Mm-hmm. Because now look at us. We're really having a deep conversation about a type of person that matters more than another type of person. That's madness.
That's crazy.
But we keep doing it because we have enough validation based off of our history, though. I'm not mad at, oh, well, these people were the most recently treated in our history that we know of, and we need to do something about this. So it's the most connected to us emotionally, too. Mm-hmm. Before that, I'm telling, like, and this is going to be like one of those, okay, Blue, okay, Dub. Slavery has been around, period, for a very long time, and every single race has been under slavery. And if we really look at this, there's been multiple high points in this and multiple low points. If we really take time to look at this, but I'm not a historian, so I'm not going to tell anybody, be like, just go off my word. But what I'm really saying is, when you were a child, you thought candy was, hey, Billy, you just said it. In my less, you said in my more my more mature times, basically. Yep. When I created a culture around the attraction of females, not even sex, just the idea of the attraction of them. But now you got a little bit older, that changed. If you stayed emotionally connected to that, though, would you be able to change?
No.
It'd be hard. It'd be so crazy. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, we're emotionally connected to our history, and it's fucking with us, but we're not admitting that because of how America's set up.
Now that's what you call it. You hit it on the head, right? Like you're 100% right.
Hey, real quick, I am like the dumbest person in this whole talk right now. I'm sitting like, I enjoy this, man. Like, I could never think of the shit y'all saying right now. I'd be like, yo, man, you shit on the toilet, you shitting. Y'all like, when you sit on the toilet, you shit. It's properly boo of the feces. I'm like, God damn.
Ramone, but think about it. You are the orchestrator of this, though. You are literally the convener of this conversation. This would not have happened in this moment right now if you did not set this up. Yeah. So this wouldn't even be a thing. Yeah. We wouldn't even be able to pinpoint off of each other's ideas like this.
Yeah,
and come to this understanding if you didn't go up here and think that we should be here at this point. So you have to give yourself a lot more credit than that, okay?
So I created the planet, huh? You know what I'm
saying? Boom, we created a planet. This is what it feels like to create a planet, okay? This is what creation looks like, okay? And it's organically. You got all the elements right here. Come on, earth, wind, fire, earth, water.
There it is.
That's a whole nother conversation, because you're right. Creatives do create planets.
We can't stop creating. Creatives are always creating.
But Blue, I think you articulated that so well, and you're so right. And if you really think about it, I mean, we're all human beings, and ideally, I've been right where you're saying for a while in my life. Like, I've been thinking this way. However, it's a scary way to think, because that's just not reality. I think the quote with "you're born and you die," and there's all these rules. A part of those rules that man has put on us is that, well, no, we are not the same. No, we are not.
Right.
There will always be a way for man to discriminate. Man has been his worst enemy since the beginning of time. I think in the Bible, if we go back to the Bible, there's a biblical story, and Brit, correct me where I'm wrong, because I'm very removed from this as far as my learnings. But there was a time where God had to split up all of the people, because if they all spoke different languages, because if all of the people spoke the same language and came together, they would build a tower that could reach all the way up to the heavens, right? And so, like, there's stories about like what happens when we really put race and all the other BS behind us. But do you think that's ever reality? Do you think that there's ever a possibility man could get where you're speaking?
Okay, so thank you for that question. And I don't think so. And here's why, though. I think that's part of like the bigger plan. It's like, I like to say this to people. So I do like consulting and stuff. So one of the things that I tell people is that, how boring would food be if there were only apple trees? How boring, you know what I'm saying? Like, I believe the races are the different veggies on the planet. What we call races. I think the variety that we see, it's uniquely situated in a way to where you can be your full self. You can selfishly be your full self, but be connected with everything. What do I mean by that? Look at the bee. The bee is not here on this planet to pollinate our flowers. The bee is not here to make some sweet ass honey for us. What the bee is doing, the bee only knows, get the queen safe.
Yeah.
Make the house, keep her safe. Point A, point B. But because the bee selfishly does this, it pollinates 60% of the planet. It selfishly does this, it pollinates 60% of the planet. And then the variety of all these trees and flowers that we eat happens. So what I'm saying is, I believe us being different skin colors and different parts of the planet and all this other stuff, I believe the Indian, the Native American heritage and culture that they have, as long as if it stays inclusive, you can't do no wrong. Because there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, so to speak. It's not that we're doing stuff wrong, we do stuff different, but just like our religions, if we actually look at our religions, it's just the science of God. If we just take that, rather than saying like, well, mine's Allah, and mine's Jehovah, and mine's this one, and mine's Yahweh, and this and that, you're talking about the same person. It's like if I go to a Spanish person and I say, hey, what's that cat's name? And they say gato. And I'd be like, man, you stupid. Gato means cat in Spanish. So I don't think it's supposed to be like we're all supposed to be thinking how to achieve it the same way. I believe that if we all open up to our full inclusive self, our full, what I call oneness self, or our divine self, or our spiritual self, or our God-like self, or our universal self, if we open up to that, going back to the man, like what God is, all-knowing, all-powerful, all-merciful, God is in everything. So if we're all an expression of that, what's happening that is quote unquote wrong is when we come from a non-inclusive space. I don't care if the word black was a thing, along if like a lot of us and black people, we already know a lot of us accept other races and other cultures way easy. So it's not about the name black or nothing,
Billy.
It's about the idea and the concept of something needing to survive after our concepts are made. So when black and white is made, it's like polar opposites. Well, if one exists, the other one gotta go. That's what we're thinking a lot. That's what these concepts make us think. So I do believe we can get rid of our attachment to concepts. We could be called black, white, Asian, and all that, as long as if we don't attach to it means superiority. White supremacy.
That's the man's problem, right? Like that's human beings' problem right there. Is we can't. And we should be able to, but we haven't been able to.
We haven't been able to, and that's because of, I would like to argue this concept, okay? And this is when, I don't know, people, I go by Blue Yogi. Yogi is somebody who lives their material self and their spiritual self just as one. There's no difference. So when I'm looking at my brothers and sisters and my male and females, a yogi does not see male and female. A yogi just sees spirit. We're all spirits having a human experience. We're not humans having a spirit experience.
Oh, that's deep. I like that. Yeah.
So the concepts have to go, and what you just said is very important because it hasn't been here, because with schooling and with how we've been attacking our survival, aka survival just means, what do I know that's gonna make myself complete? When we eat, when we're hungry, how many problems do we have? We have one problem. I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I don't care if I'm married. I don't care if I'm starving. Look, babe, wait. Let me go eat. Oh, you black and white? I don't care if you black or white. Do you got food? I'm starving. I'm about to die. But once we eat, how many problems do we have? 1 million. Because once we once we feed ourselves, the human wants to expand itself no matter what. We're always in a mode of expansion.
Yep, that's the truth.
So if we unconsciously pursue our expansion, it can come out as clout. It can come out as the things that I have. It can come out as what Britt said earlier. Oh, well, some women, they need to be married by 30, otherwise they're not complete. Britt didn't care about that. Look how happy the fuck she is. because what makes that is a concept, is not the reality of life. So school has taught us and trained us to look at certain things and be like, oh, that's what makes me important. Oh, if I get out of school and have a degree, so right there, I'm identified with my intellect, not my spirit. Oh, when I get out of school, if I get a job and a house, then I'm successful. Oh, right now,
it feels all merited. Like you're always working towards some sort of like that goal, like achievement thing, like a
so
tier.
our survival went from being about just surviving in caves to our survival is now, I need to pay my bills and I need to have some type of clout or something. And it creates that constant chasing because it's always changing.
Yeah. My mom a long time ago, she was sitting in church. We were sitting in this church, and one of the pastors got up on stage and they said, man, we tried to adopt these kids from Africa and we were unable to. And everybody in the church was so sad. And my mom, I asked my mom, I said, Mom, why you sad? And she's like, well, we were gonna give them a better life. They could come over here to America and have what we have, and more of an enriching life. And that's an American arrogance, but two, it made me challenge the notion of, in America and in these great developed countries, which we're blessed to be in to a certain degree, are we really living a better existence than somebody who has a more indigenous lifestyle?
It's a mirage. It's who are you to tell me? Think about the concept. Oh my God, I'm about to go there. Think about the concept of ghettos.
Yeah.
If you was living in the ghetto, you didn't know you was living in the ghetto until somebody who wasn't living in the ghetto was like, hey, did you know you was living in the ghetto? Did you know you ain't got like, have you been to this side of town? Because everyone in the neighborhood, if we all we got, then we all we need. Nobody was lacking in nothing. They concentrated us saying that you can't come past these borders. Cool, we're gonna build within these borders. We're gonna have everything we need. That's where you got we were neighborhood watch before there was neighborhood watch. Everybody had the big mama. Everybody, even the one who was pushing that dope was keeping their eyes on the kids. It always down, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody looked out for everyone.
And I would like
to, wasn't, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and that right there, so that understanding and that concept, it's like when we don't know, when we didn't have to try to identify with something that we believed that was outside of us, look how happy we were in the hoods. I didn't know we were poor until I left for the military. Like my mom, I was like, Mom, we grew up poor. Like I had no idea. Like, but if I was like, if we grew up as a family, as one of those families, like, some of my cousins in Chicago, for instance, they needed to have the J's, they need to have this car, they need to have this. My mom and our little immediate family, she wasn't like that. And I saw the difference between how our immediate family perceived life and how the rest of our family perceived life. It's too much. It's more of a struggle. It's because you have to be watching something all the time. Like when it's something is unknown, you're trying to be more attentive and like, what's over there? But if you can be okay with the unknown, and if you could just say, okay, well, if I'm a complete already, it's crazy how once that happens, and this is from my experience, you start picking which habits and reactions you want to come up. It becomes like a conscious reaction. It's like, so since this is mental health, I'll talk about it like in the drug and alcohol type of level. If I identify with me resolving my problems by drinking, You don't have to tell me to drink or not drink. I'm identifying how to resolve my problems with the drinking. So when that problem comes up, I just know, oh, if I drink, it goes away. What I'm saying is that's what creates that alcoholic cycle, to just identify with something. If I don't identify with it and still drink it, I gave myself the power to be like, oh, well, this time I feel like resolving this issue by just chilling out with my people and drinking. Not like I have to do it because that's the only way I know to resolve my stuff. Mm-hmm. The identifying with it is what makes us keep doing it unconsciously. But if I can see it as a separate thing from me, but something I can do, like I can do black. Black isn't me. I can do bills. Bills aren't me. That's going to the hoods and stuff. Like we all would have grown up messed up because it's known as hoods because we were more poor in that area. So we all would have grown up like messed up. A lot of us come out a little messy sometimes because, survival. And it's like, well, I'm about to go beat this dude ass in order to survive. That's all I know. But some of us come out and we go, hey, that's not the way that I see life. All my families are gangbangers and drug dealers, right? Like, I saw it and I said, oh, well, let me unidentify with that. But there is a big cycle of my family members who just keep coming into the family and they go on with that cycle. But that's because they're identifying with that. I unidentified myself, and that's why I was able to choose. So we have, so going back to what you were saying, Billy, I think it's lost a lot because of how we've been conditioned to learn and think.
No, you're right.
You had said something, Blue, about like, what's the difference between Black love, if there is even a difference, which I don't, and I do agree with you, Billy, on that about the symbolicness, and then I love I love love. So I have no problem, no issue if I see a Black man with a white woman, saying whoever. What I don't want you to do is fucking tear me down, making it seem like what I'm saying, like this is why I don't deal with y'all because of that. Wait a minute, I don't need your slander. You can be with her. That's perfectly fine. But if you're only with her because you think she's the weaker individual, she's going to bow down to you, and she's not going to hold you accountable like you should, then the issue is you. It don't matter who you put in there. That's it. You don't need a 2.0 version of your mama. Oh, I get it. Or whatever like that. But don't associate me with that either. And I'm not some angry Black woman because I'm holding you accountable, and I'm not afraid of being held accountable myself. I believe that feedback should be constructive and not destructive. I'm not going to cut down your character to get my point across. And that's me. So I don't mind anyone wanting anyone. I don't care if it's about my size, whatever, because they like the twist or whatever. It don't just. And if you think you're going to be offensive, if you think you're going to be offensive, I cordially invite you to shut the entire fuck up before you speak, because there's no need to go there. There's no need to go there. I can't say, I don't want to sound offensive, then don't. Let's stop it right there. I don't need to know what that was going to be said. Yep. Because 9 times out of you don't even have to do this. We don't even have to go there. You know what I'm saying? If I choose to date, and I have dated outside my race, but if I choose to do life with a man that isn't a Black man, that's my prerogative. It ain't gonna be like, well, all the Black men didn't treat me right. I don't know all the Black men, so I can't say that. Yep. My experiences, the ones who came didn't last for whatever reason. We was good until we wasn't. And then whatever we wasn't enough to keep us going. You know what I'm saying? Like, do I want to stick with this bullshit? You know what I'm saying? I've seen people, men in other races. What I have learned in the last maybe 2 or 3 years is that especially men with attachments, there could be like a baby mama or mamas. There could be, all kind of other stuff. They could be homie hopping. Ain't got a pot to piss in to call their own. You know what I'm saying? They just be blown with the wind. They love a free woman. So they attach themselves to free women like me. I could go out kicking it with her because she ain't got to worry about who gonna watch her kids. She ain't got none. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? She established in her own home. Oh my gosh, she live on the Lower East Side, whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? Like she ain't gonna be asking me for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like I might need some in between money. I should probably hit her up, but she might have it. It's not. Nigga, I'm not your benefactor. Do I look like Daddy Warbucks? Are you serious? You know what I'm saying? Like, you should be cashing me out on site. Like, I woke up and like, hello, queen. Don't say hello, queen. Drop $20 in my cash app and say, have a nice breakfast. Because that's what you're really going to get. I want food. That's what I really need. Because I'm probably not eating like I should. So you go, you know, make sure I eat. Did you drink your water today? Which is why I got this whole gallon right here. Like, did you drink your water today? Like, that's the kind of stuff. Be thoughtful. Be intentional and be thoughtful. You ain't got to slander me to get your point across. You don't like big girls? Great. The big girls don't like you. It's a win-win for us all. No one is hurting my feelings. I don't want somebody who don't want me. So I used to go on this rant about my love for beards. I used to, y'all, if you ever know me, I used to go hard in the paint. Oh, right, as everyone on this screen here is rocking their man. But then I started encountering men who was looking like Patch Adams or didn't have shit, you know what I'm saying, just didn't have nothing. And so now they mad. I mean, they're pressed. I mean, elevator buttons pressed. You always talk about beards. You don't want my ass anyway. Why is this a problem? Like, have you been working on yourself? Have you been trying to manifest a beard so that I notice you? Gee, if you like me, there's a possibility that I could like you too. I like men who don't have beards. I'm not shallow. But if I'm already deal with an ain't shit nigga, then the least I can do is get an ain't shit nigga with a beard. That's all I'm saying. It's like, I'm going to hold on to one standard. That's all I'm saying. Just one thing. Not too much. Not asking for too much. Like, I can work with this because I know who I am. So I'm at least take that as a consolation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm going to go up here playing your beard while you lie to my face and I'm going to call you out on your shit. But I'm going to play with that beard though. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a consent. I don't just go up there and just touch it. I am not. I'm all about consent. Okay. I am a gentlewoman. Okay. Let me put that out there. But I like men. There's plenty of men. There's men currently that I might be attracted to that don't have beards, but they are so. I didn't realize that people were bringing up in casual conversation. Well, Brit only likes beards. Who said that? I saw your post. Did you see anything else that I posted? And I have calmed down. I have calmed down with intention because I ain't want to hurt no feelings, but hurting feelings of men who don't even have interest in me, or if they have interest, will never express it. They wait until after the fact, after they done got married, after they done got here into something like, oh yeah, I used to have a thing for you. Wow, I wish you would have spoke to the mind reader in me because I don't, oh wait, she doesn't exist. Wish you would have said something because I would never have known because they don't say anything. But you pressed about a damn beard, a preference. Like I said, I don't mind who ends up with who. As long as it's real and it's healthy and it's yours, and there's no real blueprint because everyone is dynamic. I'm not here to police what your relationship looks like because you ain't gonna police what mine look like. But you don't have to tear me down to ever build yourself up, or it's you the reason why I don't. This is why I go for it. It's like, damn.
Or to your point, right? Generalization. Yeah. If people ever say this, it's just the most ignorant thing. People are with white women or women who aren't black because we need women who listen more. We need women. To me, that's the biggest crap of BS. First of all, people are people. I'll tell you this right now. Anybody thinks that I just went for Hamali because she was submissive, they don't understand who she is. And to generalize any kind of woman, to generalize to Blue's point, we're all human. It don't matter how you slice it. We all humans and we all have similarities. There's no way to say all black women are like this, all black men are like this. That's BS from the top. So I hate when people say that because that's almost racism right there. You generalizing and being racist to a whole gender based on your preconceived notions, and it's just BS.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
You know, completely aligned.
So
I don't have a lot. I got a hard stop at 9 today, so that's in about 20 minutes. I gotta stop.
That's cool with me. I appreciate it. So something didn't sit right with me last night, and actually was laying down, seen it across the timeline, and it's been a few things, but this one kind of hit differently because of the situation and I think a perspective. And I think it feeds off of kind of a discussion we had about a month ago, with everybody, this is post when the protests really happened and things like that. But Nick Cannon situation, right? And first I'll start with this: the situation with Deshaun Jackson and Steven Jackson. For me, I'm always completely understand when people will try to, wrongly quote an evil person in Hitler, and also when it becomes anti-Semitic. But I was kind of thinking to myself, I was like, when you're, this goes back to titles, we've been fighting all this. That's why I hate this idea when people get caught up in symbols when it comes to whatever flag they rock with, whatever song they love, whatever mascot they love. Like it's weird for me personally. That's why, like, I grew up a Packers and Steelers fan. I don't give a fuck about neither one team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, because it doesn't get caught up with who Ramone is. But with that being said, so I was kind of thinking to myself, like, all right, the reason why you have so many variations of Black people on so many different levels, like you might have the 5%ers, you might have the hoteps, or these different things, right? Is people have been trying so long to figure out. We know the history of what happened, and a lot of them stories are still not told. But we're trying to figure out why are these things happening, right? Continuously, right? So even with the Nick Cannon situation, even with Nick Cannon and then tie in the week before with Deshaun Jackson, we've been so it's constantly feeling mentally and emotionally beaten down. It can be dangerous. I can't say dangerously, but in the situation what happened to Deshaun Jackson, it's like you become desperate for information of why. Why is Black people dealing with the things they're dealing with? So for him listening to a quote by Hitler talking about, well, if the Jews found out if the Negroes are the real children of Islam, this is the reason why they go through these things, right? Or you talk to certain people, feel like, well, Black people going through this because this and this and this, and we're so. It's like when your throat is dry and you are so thirsty, you are willing to drink the same plant water Martin did and Bad Boys 2. You know what I'm saying? Like and we're like that when it comes to information and why we dealing with the shit we dealing with. So when Nick Cannon was talking about, just maybe the history of like it's like we know what happened. We know why this happened. We know, okay, this is what happened during slavery. Okay, this what happened during Reconstruction. Okay, this what happened. And then you kind of thinking like, yo, why is this happening? What has to be in the DNA, or if is it in their blood, is it in the DNA, is it in their mind to just naturally feel like I have to be this way? It's not even just a simple well, my mom and dad was an alcoholic, I'm going to be an alcoholic. We are talking about constant and consistent hatred and genocide and killing. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the thing about it is there's no real, like, no one wants to explain why. Like, even if you're white and you hear something like that, yeah, slavery did happen, yeah, this did happen, and then somebody say, well, I think this happened because maybe it deep down inside of you, something is chemically wrong. When soon as you hear Black person, blah, 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 you turn red, right? If like that's you know what I mean? I don't know if whatever's right and wrong. It's people don't even want to, people get uncomfortable in the discussion of why did this, why has this been this way? Because we are constantly, this has been going nonstop, even before 1619. This is like, even if you look around the world, when the dude did the video talking about what happened with France and Haiti, right? And everything that's been going on in Haiti, and Haiti had the potential to be one of the wealthiest countries in the world. Or you look at everything that's been going on in Africa, and all these countries around Africa has come in and slowly beaten and slowly drained those places of, has made money off the research. It's like, yo, what outside of just, all right, power, like, why the fuck in your mind would you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you grew up in the hood. There's some people there's some people who grew up in the hood and they feel like, well, part of my survival is, you know, I had to sell drugs, but they selling drugs to, we know friends who have mom and dads who became addicts. So more likely it was people we know that are affected, or it's like part of my survival. I had to join a gang, and if I had to kill a couple dudes, and so be it. In my mind, I'm thinking like, yeah, I'm struggling. I'm dealing with a lot of stuff, but I don't think that means I should be a detriment towards the people around me, right? Even though that's naturally just how things go. Crime happens in proximity where you are, regardless of where you are. But I'm saying in general, like, in my mind, I wonder, like, this evil, evil in the world and people doing evil shit. That's why I say I don't think you can have all the mixed kids in the world. All the kids can be light as hell. Nothing's going to change. I don't think racism and the shit is going on is ever going to change. Why? It's too much money to be made. When it's literally like somebody smoking cigarettes, and the smell of cigarettes is in the walls are yellow. You can't just think you're gonna go cold turkey, like, yeah, we're gonna be healthy again. No, fam, it's too late. Your liver is cheeks, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's done for, you know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy to me. I couldn't sleep because it was like it was going so hard, and it's like, damn, like, even if, as long as I guess it's not dangerous, but it's gonna be uncomfortable. Figure out, okay, why the fuck is it? Why have they been like this? Why has it been like this? Every opportunity you have not to do it, people still do it. There's been 1,000,001 ways for you to be better, and we always find the worst way to do this shit. Katrina happened. There were so many other ways we could do that. They found the worst way to treat the people in New Orleans. And I've met a lot of those people who were part of that. You know what I mean? Like the Houston floods, they had so many ways after the floods happened to do the right thing. Now with COVID, you have all these ways to sit there and make sure that you can be disciplined and move forward. And people constantly keep finding the worst way possible to do it. You know what I mean? And I think it's just crazy. Like, yo, this shit is really like this, and it's been like this. It's gonna continue to be like this, and even now, there are people that's still going out here marching, still doing great things. And for a person, like I said, a lot of ties in when I used to organize, and when you fight for contracts, when you fighting for 10 different areas, from the chefs to the stewards to the housekeeping to the people working front of you, doing all these things, have everyone feel included, even if it might be internal battles. It's a simple fact that you're fighting an immovable object, and everything that's happened feels like an immovable object, and it would do anything to knock people back. Now we were just talking about titles. We were talking about people being feeling recognized instead of, you know how the titles separate, make one feel better than the other. But it's like, the reality is this shit has been going on non-stop, full throttle. It's been literally a vehicle that's been going 100 miles an hour on a 1-lane highway nonstop. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things where I'm just like, and I don't know, man. It's been tough. Like, we're where we were a few weeks ago, and the rants we had. We're here now, and you thinking to yourself, like, yeah, you might have some promise, or you might have things you look forward to, but it's like, yo, this shit ain't changing, fam. I don't give a fuck how many mixed kids it is. You know, like, okay, cool. It's 66% white people in this country. Guess what? There's a 6% of Hispanic people who consider themselves as white. Okay, and you know what I mean? It don't matter if it's, all right, it's 12% black people, it's 17% Hispanic people. Well, they think in the next 30 years gonna be more Hispanic people in the country because blah blah blah, because there's no African America. You know what I mean? So it's just black people. We are only us. But okay, that happens. Guess what? Guess who still's in power? People been having kids of multiracial for centuries. Like, I don't want to be pessimistic. I'm just being realistic. Like, yo, there's nothing that has proven or shown to me that something potentially could be different. Yes, we're going to have things that's going to change here and there. I think now more than ever, right now in this moment, every single group that's have dealt with a struggle at the same time is going out there having a voice heard. And unfortunately, it's been multiple enemies. But ultimately, it's one enemy and one main power that's been benefiting from that the most. Either you look at financial as a material thing, or who controls the power to dictate if you allow to have this right or that right or this law. Like, you know, it's just one of those things, man. I couldn't sleep about it because it constantly reminds me, like, it's just one of those things, man. Like, this is a nonstop suffering. And I know I'm not out in the streets like I used to. I know I'm not. I can only say so much because a lot of people working their ass off. They're working anatomy off to make sure these different things are happening. But it's like we are fighting our ass off to have, and you look at it and it's like, man, you never feel satisfied because you kind of think about like, yo, we did all that just for the bare minimum. And that's what we keep, I can't say that's what we keep selling. It's just like, God damn, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things, man. But the last part is, I think what really hit was when I went to Memphis, Tennessee in 2018 for Martin Luther King's 50th anniversary of assassination. And that's someone that I really thrive to just obsess with. Not Martin Luther King like as an idea when it comes to what everybody else be doing. It's a simple fact that I tell people all the time, 1992, I wanted to be the first black president of the United States. I was at Clark Street School, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I remember in first grade, this is Clinton, Bush, and Perot going against each other. And they had this like little fake elections, and we do these little fill out things. Like, you 6 years old, I don't know what the fuck you doing. So it was like, and I remember like I've always had this ability to be leadership. Like, I'm not like I like galvanize people. I like bringing people together. That's why I'm good at the things I do. And I've always, since then, you get older and whatever, but it always frustrated me because my idea, how I feel like I just don't understand. People usually are choosing the worst attribute to be how they are, like consistently. And all we're doing is keep excusing it. I'm a person where I'm about the process. I'm about the
I'll be
why.
right back, guys. I'll be right back.
All right. And it's just, I know I'm going forever, man. And I couldn't sleep from the shit last night. I really couldn't. Like, I laid there like, yo, this shit ain't really gonna change, because let's say hypothetically there are people I trust that are very articulate, say, Nick Cannon was wrong. That's not right thinking. That's the thinking on a certain level. You can't tie that back to Farrakhan because he had his own issues of the things he think. My whole thing is, yes, we can sit there and say, okay, Christopher Columbus this, and then this will happen with the presidents and the forefathers of the country, and then this will happen this. Cool. Everybody's fine with talking about it. Like, it's like, yeah, I guess the country does have evils and things like that they have done, but it's like, no, why the fuck do they keep doing that shit? What makes, you know what I'm saying? It just won't. My bad, man. I just went.
No.
Hey, nah, Mo, hey, you know what? Obviously, I've known you for a while, G, and like, you being passionate as you are, I love it. It like, I'm telling you, it's inspiring how passionate you are just about society, like just society in general. Like, it's just really dope. Where we can get an aneurysm at is believing that niggas is supposed to change. You know? Or like, I get baffled, and you know me, like I said, right? So I get baffled, G, when out of all the people who know me, especially like my family and stuff, how different we are, I can't tell where they pick up that difference. Like the like all the stuff that my family that they talk like, man, hey bro, you this, man, bro, you this, man, hey bro, you this, hey, what, you got this, oh, you doing that, oh, I don't see where they soak it in at. And it's my family. I've been coaching people for a while. Letty, I'm about to put you on camera for half a second.
Oh, son of a bitch. I'm checking out this bitch.
I'm even coaching with Letty right now. There's things that I say sometimes, and I'm saying this even in front of her. There's sometimes I'll be like, you didn't hear shit I said.
You tell me that all the time. You say I don't listen. I didn't actually hear what you said because I was busy.
Because it's a difference between people hearing us, Mo, and people being able to sit with us. Mm. The ability to sit with us it's like grabbing osmosis from us. We don't need to talk almost. That's different. Now, in this small group right here, I can feel like we're some fast learners type of leaders. We're gonna be annoyed, y'all. We pick up information differently, but this isn't because of we're smarter, better, worse, or whatever. It's just because like the whole there's more than there's a bunch of different trees here. You know there the bamboo tree, it sits under the ground for a whole year and then it shoots up. But people can look at that and be like, oh man, that bamboo tree kind of weak. It's dead, like, you know, it's a dead. But if you don't have the knowledge on that, you would have probably just took the bamboo tree out before that year ended and it would have just never popped. Some of them need to marinate. But just because we're like a damn tangerine tree, like, you know, tangerines, they grow like 1,000 of them on this one little skinny ass tree. Tangerine trees be hanging over like this. You like, look all that right now. Maybe we pick up the nutrients from information a little bit different and we grow a little bit different. But the people around us, the reason why they don't pick it up and all that, nobody's gonna know. But all I do know is there are different types of people. Like I just said, sitting next to one, she said it, because I don't hide this part about me because I don't know, Mo. I think we can go on a conversation for ages about this just because you've seen my family. And it's not up to people to pick up the nutrients the way that we pick up the nutrients. But our job as givers and healers and shit is to live it as much as we can. So don't utter something and then not try to live it. So that's what I've noticed. If we live it, people can pick it up. But then the talking, what you're doing right now, like this is recorded, and if you post like a section of it that is just like could resonate with a lot of people, that's what we do. Because it's gonna slowly start transforming people. And then our family, they're gonna start picking up from it and stuff too. But the why question, I laugh at that part of you because I know that's just a passionate side. It's just like I care about society side. It's not like I think y'all all are imbeciles. It's just like, man, I'm really passionate about this, and growth can happen if we come together.
Yeah, man. It's like, and the thing about it is, I've really fell back on like giving a fuck about everything else except what I can control. It took me a lot to get to that point, but it still irks me. It still comes up and like, yo, I don't know. It's just, yeah, man. I don't. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like even with these titles or, handling the insecurity of people and whatever, man. Like I just. And the reason why I feel this way, the main reason I'm this way about it is because, okay, I give you my child support idea, right? Like I know child support is a huge thing and people talk about, but I feel like when the people who go hard for child support, I understand it's for people that you feel like, okay, this is for the person that literally abandons or not doing exactly what supposed to do, blah, blah, blah. But the problem with the system and the idea of it is it's not, it hasn't been just that. This thing, anyone can get the business. Everyone can get the business. You know what I mean? You have so many stories of people just because our relationship went bad or that person tried to break up with me or I don't like the way that person was or I don't like that. That is what is used. You know what I mean? Like this is it's literally like it's used. It's like if you have a problem, you might gonna get a regular pistol to shoot straight at you. But it's like, nope, I'm gonna get the shotgun and it's gonna spray. And you gotta get hit, and more innocent people are getting hit than the people it's made for. That's kind of how I view shit. And it's like, to me, my biggest issue is if I'm complaining about the way people drive in Houston, if I'm complaining about people doing dumb shit, or even just what I'm talking about now, the reason why is there are people being affected that under zero should not be, being affected by this. That should not be affected by this. You know what I mean? Hey, you are driving trash and you are driving reckless. This could affect my life. And I, for a person who's scared to die because this is who I am, I don't like the whole idea that my life is affected because somebody else decided it should end. I hate that whole concept.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, we all deal with loss. We've all dealt with that where you have to come to, but it's like that shit just, And to me, that's why it bugs me so fucking much. The same way we talk about with our peers, and we talk if they raising their kids trash. It's not the fact that, you know, what people have to realize is if I don't hold my peers accountable now and they have kids, when I have kids, their kids are going to affect my kids. And then my kids are going to come to me like, yo, daddy, why the fuck this? Even though they hopefully don't say why the fuck. But, and then you out here looking like, yeah, I knew the mom and daddy. They was, you know what I mean? Like, I think that gets lost in all of this, where there are things that are happening that is a detriment to people that it should not be affecting. And part of my passion is I don't like nonsense and dumb shit happening consistently. And the only thing is we are taking issues that might just need one straight shot and using shotguns and think that we just really doing something with the shit. And we do
Yeah.
that for every fucking thing.
Yeah, I mean, how I just heard it is like there's residue or there's indirect hurt being done when somebody's trying to solve one thing. Yeah, man. You know, like I don't know, like just for me to deal with that situation. One thing that goes through my head is if they didn't do it on purpose, Blue, try to find empathy and compassion. If it happened unconsciously, Blue, try to find empathy and compassion. And because that's one of those things. I don't think there's like some one language of going like, oh well, this is just why that happens. But it's also, you know, I look at intention a lot. And if my intent is good and something bad happens, I'm hoping that somebody can look past the bad that happened and go, okay, well, I see where your intent was. Let me talk to you so you don't do this again to somebody else or do this again in another situation. So I try to employ that because that's the only thing that keeps me kind of calm and narrow and focused, because I understand that passion a lot, because I think that's one of the detriments to like the quote unquote hoods of America. It's just like there's a lot of indirect BS happening when we're trying to solve one thing. And I can go personal, like my brother, you know, he was, oh my God, I laugh now, but he was kicked out of a piece of the town, out of Madison. He was kicked out of a piece of Madison. Because in his mind, he was just trying to focus on his survival. Like I said, survival move from caves to something else, money. He was just trying to survive. But then the counter of that was families got hurt and the city looked bad and blah, blah, blah. And then the city had to punish him. So that's like a really dumbed down version of it. And, but you know, I think about this a lot. I'm with you, my brother. I think about this a lot. And I try to find empathy and compassion because I've seen that empathy and compassion can change people. I've seen the people who's actually changed around me for the better is because I've shown her empathy and compassion. It's because, like, how many people do you like, Letty?
Fucking nobody. I mean, no offense, but not really anybody.
Fucking nobody. But people change around me and I can still be my comfortable self. That surprises me.
I think that's part of why you say you do, like with her, you're doing life coaching and things like that, helping people who.
Because I'm practicing what I'm preaching. Because if we don't do this, if she was black and I was doing this, people would be like, oh yeah, I get it. But I'm glad she's not black because I want us to break that. I'm just living what I'm talking about. I don't care what color she was. I'm landscaping with this black dude, James, and y'all can see it on my Instagram, small plug. You know, black business, you know. So I'm doing it with everybody. But the very important thing that I've noticed, and the reason why I'm doing this, is I'm not doing it because this shit's fun for me and I don't have my own kids to worry about. I got my own 2 kids that I can just go spend time with every day, all day. And I tell these that. I say, look, y'all, I don't gotta be here. I'm here because as humanity needs to change, y'all. We need this. Humanity needs to change. So I'm doing this not because I think it's fun. I'm doing this because I've seen this stuff happen on accident in front of me when I wasn't trying to do it.
I was just being me, Mo. You know me. I was just being me. And then I would see people change. And then I would be like, what the fuck just happened? Because people come to me and they be like, people can't change. And you tend to believe these words because you see people not changing in front of you. So then people started changing in front of me and I was like, oh shit. Paying attention to it. And now I'm breaking down the science of all of this. Because I didn't know the language like this. I didn't know I thought I was gonna be acting on some stupid TV show, being egoic, somewhere. But then I learned this language and how to be a human. Like being a human means being aware. That's it. There's nothing crazy here. I'm just aware of my emotions. I'm aware of my mental process. And then when I started paying attention to that, I noticed the thing that I was doing that other people wasn't doing. Because a lot of people I've seen, like when they become friends and something happens, a little sour thing happens and then they change and things like that. And people do this in business and people do this in other stuff. And I was like, oh, with me, Mo, he can do something wrong to me right now. I would see it and I would just mention it and then I would just let it go. And sometimes I don't even mention it. I don't even think about it because I just say his heart is good. I don't care that BS just happened. My brain made the BS. If Brittany if I say I love you, Brittany, if I say I love you, Britt, and then she thinks he just said I hate you, she created that, not me. So if Mo doing something out of his heart and then it looks bad, it looks bad because I created that, not Mo.
Explaining why you're in a relationship, that shit's trash.
I know, and it's that I stopped relationshiping Mo because of that. You know what I'm saying? Because this is me so much that it was hard for me to explain this to every girl I was with.
Okay.
Because this is hard. Because that's what I'm saying, Mo. Right now, this ain't something easy. I'm saying to go out there and do in the world. Period. It's hard to see somebody put their knee on somebody for 8 minutes and then be like, you know what? That person's still a God creature. It's hard to do that mentally because emotionally it won't ever make sense. I'm just telling everybody. I'm telling you, it won't never make sense emotionally. I'm telling you. But if we need to grow and go and help each other, I will find a way to empathize with that man. Do I want to do some unnamed things that I'm not going to say in front of my son right now? Yes. Just because. Off rip. But what I'm saying is I'm not trying to be just here for Blue. I'm trying to be here for humanity. And humanity needs us to learn how to deal with things like this better. We can't just go out in the streets and go mad. So how does this relate to what Mo was saying? Well, in our life, some people just gonna be annoying. They're gonna say some stupid stuff that don't make sense. Like things are like, I'm telling you, I once again, my son, he has helped me through this because, he be making sense more than my friends, my grown friends, but he just can't say it right. So I've learned to calm down because of him, because I'm like, oh, this how my friends be. But they just stupid. My son's smart, but he just don't know how to word it right. My 4-year-old son. But the answer is this is the most difficult thing to do. It's to find empathy and compassion in those moments of chaos and horrific moments. Like it's just, we have to find it. Ignorance is here. The only thing that's going to solve ignorance is knowledge. It's not hard. The reason I'm the way I am is because I kept reading books about spirituality, the heart, human. I kept reading books about personal development, the mind. I kept reading books about this. And then you know me, Mo, Brittany, if you don't know yet, I started hanging around these millionaires who live this. Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to, I'm osmosing. I'm living. If I didn't do none of that stuff, I just would have been, I don't know, started some stuff and it probably would have been like good and then it probably wouldn't have, but ignorance is here in all of us. There's more ignorance in me. I'm not done. I'm still reading, the thickest books that I've ever seen in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't got one in here, but this book is supposed to be small. It's like 300 pages in here. You know, see, I was wrong. 588 pages. This little book. I'm at page like, I don't know, 120. So I'm still going is what I'm saying. We have to keep doing that as people, because what you're doing right now, Mo, is a piece of that. You put us all together. This like a mastermind is what they call it in business. This like a mastermind. And then what's happening is I got a piece of Brittany in me now. And then I got a little bit a different aspect of Mo, because this Mo is different than the last year Mo. So I got a piece of that Mo in me now. And then all what I'm saying, I'm hoping that we can walk away and be like, oh, well, okay, I got a little bit of that blue yogi stuff, all that crazy stuff he was saying. You know, like, that was just dope. Because I know I sound crazy to a lot of people, because humanity isn't normal for us.
But we're not listening. You know what I found out, Blue? We don't listen to understand. We listen to, like, for rebuttal, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hear what you're saying, and so I'm just setting up my stuff like I'm not, you know, so we're just going back and forth, and half the time conflict arises because what the two people don't realize is that they're saying almost the same thing, just in a different way.
Thank you. And
but if we would have stopped to listen, we would have caught that.
That's a million of my conversations, actually. When I'm helping relationships, I'm like, look, dummy, you're saying the same thing as her. Y'all don't know it, because y'all have different love languages. There's 5 love languages.
Yep.
Touch, gift, quality time, and then the other 2, acts of service, which is mine, I believe.
And gifts.
And gifts.
Yep.
So that alone, see that little bit of knowledge, that helps so many people. Now in business, okay, well, in business, you got to know there's 4 business colors: red, blue, yellow, green. If you don't know which type you are in other people's, you can want to fight one, because people need to know that yellow and red are opposites. I'm an extreme yellow. So when I come around a red, or a red comes around me, they're annoyed immediately. They like, you don't want to work. You so crazy. You just worried about the people. I can't believe you. Because a red is worried about the mission. So if I'm talking people to a mission-oriented person, I'm going to sound so crazy to them. And they going to want to fight. But if they understand my type, then they can go, oh, okay, Blue just saying the same thing, but he's just saying it through the language of people. Completely. Okay, let me just calm down. I'm about to pop your nose off.
Like, let me just understand what is being said. I may have missed a part of it because I had to go get my my DoorDash. But I think when I find myself in conversations about race or in spaces about it, I have to generally just check a fun fact about me, I'm anxious all the time. So I look very cool, calm, and collected, but inside I'm always overthinking what I'm saying. Could I have said this differently? Did they understand me? I find myself rambling because I want to explain what I said, because the response is they're looking at me, but do they understand what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I just speaking a foreign language? And so that's been me a lot of the time. And there was like, you're so articulate, especially when I perform or even when I host, I'm the most nervous. I don't mind making mistakes. I don't mind like being silly or goofy, whatever, but like my anxiety is like always there. So they're like, oh my God, I didn't know, you didn't seem nervous when you did that poem. I don't want you to see my nerves. I'm sharing with you that they are there. They're very present. And it's, so I want to be with intention. I have to tell myself to breathe. I remember when I featured at Lyrical Sanctuary, I had the band play Back That Ass Up as I walked up, because that's one of my favorite songs. I mean, it's basically a Negro spiritual. But then I also had them playing the instrumental to Electric Relaxation. And so when I actually go to any platform, I say in my head, relax yourself, girl, please settle down. And that's how I settle down before I get to any microphone or stage or whatever, because I have to just remember, they're here to see me. They're not going to get up and leave. I have their attention for the 2 minutes, the 3 minutes, the 1 minute, whatever. And I have nothing to be afraid of, and it's especially my words. And so I had the whole audience saying, relax yourself, Brit, please settle down. So, just to calm me down, like we in this thing together, because I'm expressing what I need and I'm checking for my triggers, and I know what that does to me. So when I'm talking about race and my blackness, and like even like my sweatshirt that says dopeness and the definition and all that kind of stuff. Like I know myself and I define myself. I know who I am. I don't have to go around parading that I'm a Black woman. You can see that I'm a Black woman. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to, I mean, and people feel whatever energy I put out. I don't have to even say anything. You know, a change just happened when I stepped into the room. What I won't allow is for people to understand that racism is very prevalent and that it's a driving force behind capitalism, how we operate, you know, the things. And so I also have to check my triggers when if I was to be in Texas with Ramone and I saw him get pulled over, whether I knew him or not, I can't help the way that makes me feel indirectly when I see another Black, you know what I'm saying? Like I have to check for those triggers now before I get out the door in my Black, being present in all my Blackness and how dope that is, and this wonderful woman that I am. Everybody in this world, especially in the city of Milwaukee, especially on this block on the Lower East Side, don't know how amazing I am, and half of them don't care. Like you know what I'm saying? I could be on the chopping block by somebody else's decision, you know. And I have to remember that. So like if I'm only given this next 5 minutes or the next 5 days or the next 5 years, I've got to do something with it. You know, it's got to align with my purpose. It doesn't, you know, I don't have to argue somebody tooth and nail about whatever, like, because we're going to be hitting a brick wall. You ain't hearing me. And at this point, I'm not even hearing you. So you want to find yourself, connect yourself to some people who are on the same mindset as you. Because it's like a person who don't believe in religion or believe in God, whatever, want to pick the brain of a Christian. Why? Like a lot of times they trying to pull the argument or try to catch them slipping or doing something. It's like, come on now, you're exhausting. You know what I'm saying? Like if you check someone's intentions, like some people could really be asking like actual questions. I do want to point out that your hat is super dope. I meant to say that earlier. You give me all the 90s vibes because I mean this is part of people's amazing childhood if you ever had one with the Sesame Street. But that's important though, that you know what I'm saying, like there's things that people don't bring up, but there's some people with intention, like you got to check people's intention, like, well, why are you saying this? You know, oh, it was just a Freudian slip. That could happen. But then that means there was something in the back of your mind that's like, ooh, I'm just gonna shoot this out my mouth and see the reaction that I get. And then sometimes they're more upset they don't get the reaction that they're looking for.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta roll because I'm about to go do my nightly routine with the kids. But I love how you set that up and how you brought that up because ultimately what you said was, well, to me in my crazy brain, right? Like I'm okay with being aware of myself, and you know, ultimately nobody else can determine how I describe myself to myself, and that has a lot of power in it. And I really like that awareness is there because I think that's what makes it comfortable to be able to talk to anything. Because if you meet a reptile human, you won't judge it because you're just like, well, I'm myself. I'm comfortable with myself. I'm sure that's how you feel.
Yep.
And I'm glad you were able to talk to me. So namaste. I'm gonna leave you with that.
All the kids, I said, "What's up?" Who's all over there right now?
I know. They running in the back.
Blue, thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed everything that you said today. Like
he's a dope motherfucker,
so
man.
Amazing, so amazing. Thank you,
Brit,
so much.
man. It was a pleasure, Mo. Like always, I appreciate this, and yeah, invite me last minute again, my brother.
All right, Peter. All right, man.
Have a good one.
Hey, Brit, I really appreciate you.
Oh, likewise. I'm glad you did it. I'm just glad you did.
Stay dope. You know what I'm saying?
All right, we'll do. Have a good night.
All right. Hey. What's up?
All right, Mom. I'm holla.
All right, holla. That was great. Holla at your boy.